I look pissed yellow, me. Oh, shit.
Piss yellow.
Pissed yellow, me, like. I used to have a Welsh twang.
Yes. Welcome, Danny. For those who don't know, Danny's not obviously been on when I've hosted before, so he just started conversing and he didn't say anything that was going to get us cancelled. But yeah, he looks piss yellow apparently. Morning, everybody. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me this morning, Danny and Smarty. How are you both doing?
Jolly good. Thank you very much for having me. You're very brave for having me on today.
It's a chance for Daniel to get his own back, usually, this, for when I visit him over on his podcast. Hello, good morning, Luke. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I had a nice little lay-in this morning. But isn't it mad how football can just alter a person's mood, like, generally speaking? Like, because if we'd have played poorly yesterday, we'd have been on here this morning and it'd been a bit of a slog and we'd have all been like, oh, for fuck's sake, we've got to do that bastard podcast first thing in the morning. And, you know, it's like, it's just, everything's just a slog in it when Leeds have been shit. But when we've played as we have, it just makes life a bit easier, doesn't it?
Everyone carries a spring in their step, so to speak, don't they?
Absolutely. Anyway, thanks for joining me, gents. We'll run a quick intro and we'll have a bit of a talk about yesterday's convincing home win.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit. We're recording, you know. Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this.
Yeah, the absolute elite shithousery is now going to be probably the buzzword for the start of every podcast where there's been an elite amount of shithousery. But yeah, we are expecting a guy from Argyle Life joining us around about 11:30 just to give us a bit of their perspective. He's currently in the gym just trying to get those endorphins going because I'm sure he's probably a little bit more pissed off than we are this morning.
Taking his frustrations out on the nearest punch bag, I assume.
Yeah, either the punch bag or his plasterboard walls.
It's just got a row of Ginter's pies just laid up against the wall and it's just punching them as he goes along. Wow.
Yeah. I first things first. I will be both generally, gents. I'd like to hear how people are doing this weekend and just get a bit of a feel. Have we had a good weekend other than the football? Are we both fighting fit?
Steady away.
Yeah, mate.
Steady away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's true what you say, Luke. Sorry,
go on. No, you've started. It's fine. I usually let the guests speak first, and then
He doesn't usually let anybody speak first, so think yourself
well,
lucky.
That's true as well.
I know what you mean. I can't get a word in. But yeah, yeah. It's like you say, Luke. It's amazing what a win does for you. Outside, I heard the birds chirping this morning. I could hear people having a go at the children for being too loud. You know, it's like one of them things. You know, good morning.
It's funny you should say that. You know, right? And this is a completely irrelevant off-topic conversation that we're going to go into. It's nothing to do with football. Well, it's to do with football, but anyway, somebody messaged me through Facebook the other day, and it was somebody who I've known growing up, a girl, and she basically messaged me saying that she's got 4 Oasis tickets and do I want to buy them? So I was like, yeah, of course I do, man. I'll have them off you and blah blah blah. And then anyway, it turned out she was hacked by some, somebody out in Russia or Nigeria or wherever they are, and I put the chat into my chat group, into my friend's chat group from the area where I grew up, and so said, "Oh, is that her whose dad used to stab everyone's footballs if he went in his garden? He used to stab your footballs, so if the ball went into his garden, you'd come out with a knife and stab your football.
Fucking hell."
And that's how he was known. That's how people on the council estate knew him as the guy who stabs everyone's football.
Stabby Steve and his all of Luke's flyaways getting absolutely murdered left, right, and
center. Oh mate, he once did it to a World Cup ball, and it was a belter as well. Do you remember that? I think it was 2002 one that had the sort of little offset triangle thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it was beautiful. He once did it to that. Anyway, he never lived it down because I was
going to say.
Did you egg the shit out of
it? It might have been 2000. It might have been a Euros ball, was it? I can't remember.
Oh, the silver one.
Yeah, like a silvery goldy. It was like,
yeah.
And it had sort of like a darker triangle with a little red triangle inside it.
Yeah. Yeah, you
proper,
can't beat
proper
some good ball chat.
Not this lightweight shite that they play with now. Some proper good old fashioned break your toes if it's too cold sort of.
The old mitre, don't you? The old rock solid mitre. Well, take one of them to the ear. You're like
Delta Max was best footballs ever.
Take one of them to ear on a cold day, and it's like platoon. Like
or inside a thigh. Going round to school next week with a cauliflower lug hole because you've been blasted inside every one of them concrete balls. Jesus
like BFG, like with massive ears.
But the thing is, he made a run for his own back, this fella, because he lived right on the corner house, and it was so easy to throw eggs at and run away from. There were so many different directions you could go.
Eggs were my best friend as a young man. Absolutely. I even got contracted to egg someone once. That was a fine moment in my life.
What did you get paid in rainbow drops?
10 quid. I got 10 quid. I had to buy my own eggs, so it was. But back then, obviously, it was like 50p for a pack of eggs. Like, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, mate. I've heard you can. I've heard you do contracts, bro. Can you do a drive-by egging?
I've heard you're the guy I need to speak to about egging.
And you've got a good aim and decent velocity.
That's right. It's the size of my arms, mate. Anyway, yeah.
Smarty the hen, we used to call him.
Yeah, that is a very short story, but I didn't get any Oasis tickets and brought back lots of memories and scars on my heart that made me cry a little bit. So, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about football, shall we? So let's start with the overall performance. I think it's a good starting place. You know, did we ever look? Did it ever feel? I mean, I know we scored the three goals within something like 7 or 8 minutes of each other, and it was quite frustrating up until that point. But was it ever in doubt when we saw Rooney's lineup and dropping people? Danny, did you think he'd come there maybe to get a point, if at best?
Well, Luke, you see, I think when Rooney turns up at Ellen Road, right, with that, I don't know who's trying to look trendy and stuff with his, his tight jeans and his little haircut, whatever's left of him. But they had 7 changes, and even from there, because me and that Argyle lad, we follow each other on Twitter, and he didn't seem right confident. Even the commentators were saying, try and sort out a point. You know what I mean? And that was, you sort of knew what was going to happen. But once that went in, that first goal, mate, it was just an absolute floodgates open, didn't they? And I just thought we were going to, I think the expectation was that it was going to be a 3 points. Not to be big-headed, but I think everybody were like, yeah, it's 3 points.
Yeah, I think for me, whilst it was frustrating the first, whatever it was, 30 minutes or so until we got that first goal, Smart, I don't know about you, but even whilst we hadn't scored, I still think and I felt it didn't feel like we were ever going to really. We still, opened them up a couple of times, and it didn't feel like we were going to go 90 minutes. I know they had 11 or 12, including the ref behind the ball, majority of the game, but it just almost felt like, and it certainly does for me this season so far, feel like that we have got maybe not using last week as a great example at Bristol, but it does feel like we have far more options in terms of runners and people getting in behind, and certainly with Aronson in there, that we do look like that we're not going to struggle with these sorts of teams this season. I don't know if I wasn't there yesterday. Was the frustrations in the crowd, or were people starting to getting a bit edgy?
The atmosphere kind of died down a little bit, as it does tend to do around the 20th minute mark, and I think that's just because of what was on display. Initially, we found it difficult to get through that many players. I mean, I think they set up with initial 6 at the back, to be honest. I mean, they were well packed in there. And it does look like, we've moved on since Burnley. Burnley are obviously a good team. We struggled to break them down, and obviously, but that was quite early on in the season. I think we've developed a way of getting through these low blocks now. But it needed that Dan James finish. It needed that long shot to just kind of break the deadlock. And that, like you say, once that happened, that were it. They absolutely fell to pieces. But I said earlier in the morning in one of group chats, I said, I guess that we'll go either 2 or 3 up and then just cruise, because we should have had absolutely more goals in the second half. We absolutely battered them. But I just think, I don't know whether they're obviously mindful of the game on Tuesday or whatever, and they're trying to conserve energy or whatever. Maybe I'm looking too much into that. But yeah, an absolute dominant performance. They didn't really look at, I mean, the stats. Have you seen the stats for the game?
I was going to come on to those shortly, Smarty.
I'll let you do it. But the stats speak for themselves. I mean, absolutely not a single shot, not a corner. The possession, the possession that they had as well. Do you want to do the stats now whilst I'm talking?
Well, you might as well. You've just done them. You've done the shots, the possession.
I'm like, I kind of wanted to
Can't help himself, can he, Luke?
I can't do that. I spoil everyone's shows. So the XG was 0, and I don't think I've ever seen an XG of 0.0 before. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. The shots were 0, block shot 0, big chances 0, accurate crosses 0, corners 0, possession 22%.
It was actually 21.5%. It was less than that.
Well,
get him right, Smarty. Come on.
If you're gonna do it, do it right. Come on.
We're gonna give him a little bit more. Well, that's the official. That's from Johnny. That's from LFC data. Sorry, so you want to take it up with them? I'm not going. I'm not
probably don't deal in points though, do they?
I'm not firing shots at them.
Just
lads.
round up and down.
Accurate passes for Plymouth were 120, which is just 2 hour 600 and something, 630.
That's 1.5 every minute. A passing of having the ball. That's absolutely horrible.
It was just. I feel bad for their fans, me. But
it's not even 1.5. It's not even 1.5. It's 1 1/3 every minute.
Imagine. I mean, they obviously lost quite a few key players. Darko JB, one of ours, obviously, one of them. But I just thought, Jesus Christ! Imagine having to go all the way up there, because it's a frigging long way, is Plymouth. As the fans obviously of the opposition found out when we say it's a long way to Plymouth when you're shit. It's a long way to go, knowing that you're probably going to get absolutely smashed to bits. So fair play to their fans for coming up. But they were a good team last season. Well, they weren't. Obviously, they weren't as bad as they are now. But we played them 4 times last season, because we played them twice in Cup as well, didn't we? And they were one of them sort of teams where I thought we could probably slip up against these, because they are a bad footballing side. But obviously, Wayne Rooney is a useless bastard and have turned them all to shit. So. But yeah, absolute dominant performance. It's a shame it were only 3-0, but yeah.
Danny makes a great point here. Tanaka made 106 passes out of his 116, which is almost as many as the whole of the Plymouth team.
They lost ball once as well. Couldn't believe it.
Tanaka did.
Took ball down right nice and then lost it. I think they recovered it straight away, because their players cannot pass to each other. Did you hear them when they started cheering, when they strung about 4 fucking passes together?
It's ironic cheers, though, isn't it? I think.
No. It wasn't. It wasn't sarcastic. It was a rapturous "come on, lads" sort of right. It wasn't tongue in cheek or anything like that. It wasn't like a malicious kind of.
No, I don't think there's any malice in it. I just think they were actually excited to see them make 3 or 4 passes, and I think that was the irony was that they'd made 3 or 4 passes. But hey, I wasn't
4 passes together. Big cheer, and we were just like, "Shut the fuck up!" They lost it straight.
Didn't the chant? What was it? Watford scored 5. How crap are you? Or Cardiff or something. Someone beat them 5-0.
I couldn't hear that. I couldn't hear that in South.
Was it not Preston beat them last week?
Cardiff beat them 5-0, didn't they, last week?
Was it
5-0? That's it. Yeah. Cardiff.
And they had a better squad out there. So Smart, you touched upon there that Rooney decided to ring the changes. I know, Danny, you said they made 7. And whether or not they were coming to Ellen Road to at best pick up a point, I think the signs early on were that they would have been happy with the goalkeeper tactics in the 13th minute. I think it was, he got spoken to by the referee, and yeah, I think any team that comes to Ellen Road this season feels somewhat different to if they were coming last season for me, because we do have those different options. I think when we were struggling to open teams up last season, we sort of relied a little bit too much on giving the ball to Crean, hoping he was going to score a goal from somewhere. Whereas now, obviously, we've got Dan James firing. We've got Pirro, who's hitting a bit of form, thankfully. He'd had a poor couple of games running up to this. But do you feel, Danny, that we're... First of all, do you agree with that sentiment in that we do seem to have more options and we do seem to have these different options to unlock these types of teams? or do you think it is just that we were a little bit more balanced in terms of personnel?
I think that I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, that we're a lot more championship balanced squad this season compared to last season, where, like you say, we just had Somerville given hope, and up he cuts in on his right and curls it into the corner. And you got Rutter as well, who could find them passes, but 9 times out of 10, he takes it just one step too far for me. He did Rutter last season, but I do believe that if you look at our options now, I mean, I keep forgetting his name, Joshua. I just remember Giant Bogey in my head for some reason. Gilavugi, yeah. Gilavugi. I thought he was great from what I've seen of him. He's an option. You've got Solomon. You've got before Gruev and Ampadu, you had Rothwell and Tanaka on the bench. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like that our squad this season is a much more well balanced and rounded championship squad, and this is why we can afford a couple of injuries here and there.
Yeah, we'll talk on Gilavugi actually, because I was going to do it a little bit later, but seeing as though you mentioned him there, I was really pleasantly surprised as to how sharp and how quick and how well he read the game. I mean, it's not a great barometer. It's not a great measuring stick. It isn't when you're 3-0 up against a team that are going to be in the relegation battle this season and came to offer pretty much next to nothing. And he was lining up obviously against opposite Adam Forshaw. So it isn't a great litmus test, but I was pleasantly surprised by him, Smart. What do you think?
I mean, to come into this team, he can't be like average or a bit naff. It's not a comical sort of introduction, is it? He did well. He kind of looked like bloody Yaya Toure trotting onto the field, didn't he? And that's the first thing I said to him. Looks like a frigging Yaya Toure. Yeah, he were tidy. He put it about a bit, some nice touches or whatever. Obviously, it's only a bit of a cameo role in it. It's not too serious yet. But yeah, to see him come into the squad that early, especially after quite a few people were saying that he wasn't fit and he's going to have to take weeks to get up to scratch and stuff. It seems like he's looked after himself during the off season or whatever. So yeah, fair play to him. Yeah, he looks a good lad. Yeah, he looks all right.
He must have kept himself sharp on the off season. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. I think that's quite important. And he said that he'd kept himself sharp. He hadn't played for 6 months, best part of. And to just come in at this level, which is not, I mean, fair enough. The opposition weren't probably the greatest test for us and for him in his first game, but to just come in at a Champions, I mean, I think it speaks volumes when he was named on the bench when he'd been here 2 days last week. He'd only just got here, so we know what sort of level of fitness, and Farker wouldn't have done that because firstly, he's notoriously and been quite outspoken about signing players that are out of contract and free agents previously, and he's never done it, and he's been quite against it because of the expectations and everything on at this level. So for him, first of all, to do that and then to bring somebody in and actually put them straight in on the bench, I think it's testament to how well he has looked after himself in Gilavugi.
He's played at a good level though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He should cruise it in this division. I mean, I dare say that we'll see him in the Premier League should we get promoted. But he's just fine. He's fine for now, just to cover the middle of the field in case we need him.
And he went under the radar quite a bit because we were linked to, is it Kouyaté and then the guy from the other French guy begins with a C, Coquelin.
Coquelin, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, Gilavugi's at the game. You know what I mean? Someone's recognised him, and then, like I say, he's in the team 2 days after he signs. He's kept. I mean, I heard Popey say he must have kept himself really sharp because he's made. I mean, that's emphasis to the game. He's making his debut, and the 2 young lads came on as well. So that's how well. Yes. Who I thought were sprightly.
Yeah, Chambers and Crew. Yeah, very good additions. I thought they did well, and shame Crew didn't get a goal actually because he took his shot quite well from edge of box. Yeah,
and Gilavugi with his header later on. Anywhere else on target, that's the goal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah. Just on, I was going to say something about Gillavuga. It's completely escaped me now. Gillavuga. But you can also imagine seeing him tucking in at centre back if Rodon gets an injury or a band. That's right centre back. He looks like he could be a ball playing centre back, and I think that's probably why the option to take him was because he can play either or. I think the majority of his most recent games, actually, before he was unattached to a club, he'd played centre back at Mainz or whatever they're called, FC Mainz.
Yeah.
Mainz.
Mainz.
So yeah, he does look a bit of a steal.
You can see he wants to be here as well. You can see he wants to be here. Now, that might have been the deciding factor over a couple of other players because, you can see... I mean, obviously, I don't tend to look into social media or players' social media too much, but the way that he carries himself on there and says, he's passionate, he wants to be here, he's absolutely over the moon to be here, etc. That sort of positive attitude, someone who wants to be here rather than, if Coquelin might have just walked in, sort of like Conor McGregor and thought, I'm fucking mint, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm just casting aspersions, I suppose. But yeah, he wants to be here and he's wanting to graft for the team, and that's what you want. And if he fits in with the general culture of the club, then brilliant.
Yeah, and just to sort of emphasise that, I don't know if you saw his tweet and in his Instagram post. Marching on together, it's more than an anthem. I will quickly learn it by heart. Here we go with Leeds United. Mercy, mercy, mercy. So that sort of thing is what we want to see as a fans. I mean, it's easier after a 3-0 convincing home win. If you'd have put that after we'd been beaten or not taking the 3 points, it might have been a different story. But I think Joe Wayman put something like, is it possible to fall in love with, or is it possible to have your favourite player as somebody who's only just been here for 7-9 days or something stupid like that? And but the answer is yes. I think he will very quickly become a fan favourite. I think his old nature is...
A lot of people fell in love with Tanaka quite quickly, so it's very possible.
I did. I'm currently in samurai training as we speak. I've got Buddhist candles everywhere. Honestly, me and Tanaka, I'd happily share a field of battle with him.
Is he a Buddhist? I
don't know. I just said that because that's what samurais in the movies do. Like 600 years ago. Whether it's still true, I don't know.
With joss sticks all over the room.
Yeah. That'd be like that Last Samurai, except instead of Saki, it'd have been Greg's. It'd have been screaming Greg's all night. Greg's!
Yeah, unless at least the hairstyle would suit me, because I could get rid of it a bit. You know what I mean? I'd have to wear my hat all the time though, because for obvious reasons.
Yeah, you and Luke could do
follically challenged. Follically. See, Luke looks hard. I don't. I just look like an absolute pervert. Do you know what I mean?
Well, do you know what? I considered doing Movember this year. And I look back on last year's and the year before, and I thought, do I really need a month of looking like that? Really? Right now? Like, do you know what I mean?
You look like what's his name?
Bronson. Bronson.
Bronson. Yeah, Bronson. Yeah.
Yeah, I do get that. I do get Tom Hardy quite a bit.
Fucking Tom Hardy. Give over. Behave.
What other one
that you seem to claim? Oh, people call me Jason Statham. I went, fucking, probably your mum or your lass calls you Jason Statham, mate. No one else thinks you look like Jason Statham.
There is a picture of him, though, where I actually do look very similar. And I forgot what film it's off. And there's just one angle where I actually think, oh, actually, I see the resemblance there.
I think you're looking at it all wrong, Luke. I think
Tom Hardy did do Bronson, didn't he?
Yes, that's why I was on about tonight.
Yeah.
But I look about as close to Tom Hardy as Jay looks to Chris Pratt. So,
yes,
Jay catching strays.
Jay's an absolute stickler for Thomas Brolin, especially when you're looking.
Especially since he's retired and got really big.
Just giving up on life. In like introduction video, when that second clip of him when he's sat there and he looks wet in an anorak with his hair right long. It was like we just got someone off street to come in.
Speaking of retired footballers, did anybody see the sad videos of Adriano this week?
No.
You've not seen him? Oh, so he's just in the favelas, pissed out of his head, fighting with like loads of his mates and that.
Isn't he part of the favela gangs now though?
Yeah, he's probably off the rails. And you think how good he was and how good he was on Pro Evolution Soccer, man. It was
95 shot power or something.
Oh,
It's
you
looked
used to just
crazy.
smash
wasn't
it
it?
halfway with him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Jay's in the comments. Get to Specsavers, lads. Brawling. Go on then, brawling. Yeah.
Well, if you
anyway,
remember the old intro, I used to call him Burling. There, you look like Burling and you're Leeds hating bastard.
That's it. You mentioned Smarty before we went off on another tangent.
Yes.
This Sunday morning.
My
We
fault.
mentioned about the two new debutants. Apparently, we've not had a debutant. Stats shared this with me, and I think it was shared actually on telly. I think it would have stats as stats. That we hadn't had a debutant at home against Plymouth since the 1939 season or something around there. And we had 3 yesterday.
Yes.
So we had Charlie Crew, who came on, and is it Sam Chambers? Is it Sam?
Yes.
Sam Chambers. I thought Sam Chambers looked very, very sprightly. I was really impressed by him. He was getting in behind his left back, and I think he probably, if he was a bit more selfish and maybe a bit more experienced, maybe takes a shot there when it's a bit of a narrow angle rather than tries cutting it back. And then Charlie Crew, who also made the keeper make a, don't know if it was a debatable save.
We're going in that. He had to get his hand.
It was
to
going in, but it was very central. I think he probably didn't need to jump up in the air and flick it over, but it was on target. So yeah, some real positives. I think we saw both of them in pre-season and expected potentially to see a little bit more of them by now this season, because I think they both had pretty good pre-seasons. I think Chambers got a goal in one of the games actually.
Good take.
When he was
I think
playing,
he did. I think he did.
He was playing
actually,
attacking mid central. He was playing a bit behind the striker in that game, and obviously came on the right wing yesterday. But the future looks relatively positive in terms of sort of when you consider some of the youth we've had on the bench and have sort of been forced to have on the bench in the last couple of years. But then it's nice to be in a position where actually now we're not actually forced to play those hands, but we can actually give them time in a game like yesterday where where it's a little bit more flexibility. And the game's never won, but it was pretty much won. Either of those two impress you more than the other, Danny?
I thought Charlie Crew just on his positioning and the shot itself, because I thought it was a good shot. I thought we were going to zip in, but like I say, we're just too central. If that goes to either of the corners, the keeper's got work to do. But the keeper might have made it look a bit more spectacular, tipping it over the bar, but it just shows confidence, and that's what you want from you youngsters. I mean, look at, I don't want to mention his name, but the eldest Gray, when he came on the scene and it took us by storm. And I think that's what we've always had, a good academy, haven't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I think we've got some good players coming through.
Yeah, I was watching a short video taken from YouTube, and it was O'Leary's kids or something that Walnut shared the other day. I don't know if anybody watched it, and it was talking about our youth, and they were going through Robbo, Hart, that scumbag bugger who went over to Turkey, that scumbugger who went to Scum, Robbo, one or two others as well, McPhail and things. So yeah, I mean, in terms of
McPhail was a great player.
Yeah, I know it was unfortunate with McPhail. I think Simon Johnson mentions McPhail and how good he was. You know what I mean? And just never really hit the heights. Was he hindered by a lot of injuries?
Yeah, he was. And he
McPhail.
had an wand of a left foot, didn't he?
He did,
wand of a left foot.
And there's Eddie Gray's talking on it as well. Eddie Gray and O'Leary talking about all these youngsters. It's really good watch. But yeah, in terms of youth, looks really, really positive. I'm quite excited for both of those. I think it's good. I think we're in a good position for those to get game time as well, because had we been promoted last season, so barely in the Premier League this year, the chances are they might see themselves going out on loan and might not have got those first team opportunities. So yeah, really, really excited by the pair of those. Gelavugi, apparently I've just seen a comment that he's the oldest debutant since 2011.
The man himself. Sorry.
Brownie,
Mr.
innit?
Johnson. Mr. Johnson's in the comments and said McPhail was the best of the lot of them. Should have been a superstar.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
From the man himself, Mr. Johnson.
Sorry, just to go back to the last comment, Gelavugi is the oldest, and I think you're right. I think it was Michael Brown who was
Michael Brown,
who I really liked actually at the time. He wasn't anything special, but he did a job, didn't he? And
he liked to get stuck in, didn't he?
Yeah.
You like
Is that,
to get
was-
stuck
is,
in.
is, is that was we had Prutton and all that,
Yeah.
and Vereenan and
Brown,
that kind
Paul,
of stuff.
Paul Green,
Yeah, Greeny.
Danny Pugh.
Danny
Yeah.
Pugh. We had that striker who couldn't. Noel Hunt.
Oh God, Noel Hunt were terrible, wasn't he?
No, bloody
They
hell,
might
yeah.
have been a little bit. They might have been a little bit after 2011, actually, but
I
it was
think
sort of around.
Nolan were more. What's
Matt
his name?
Smith.
No, you were much later. Fucking hell, what's he
hell.
called?
Tom.
Old manager. Jesus
Tom.
Christ, I can't remember.
Tommy, yeah.
Fucking
Tommy. Michael Tom.
Yeah,
it's a
Good
time
times.
at Leeds I want to fucking forget, if I'm totally honest.
Adrian's rolling about.
Yeah. It's nice to see that we've got a nice young crop of players coming through, because really, I mean, we've had spatterings, obviously, you know, with the Grey dynasty, and as it carries on, hopefully we'll start seeing Harry at some point, maybe in the next couple of seasons or whatever. But we've not really had a group of youngsters since the Charlie Taylors, the Cooks and well, obviously Byron, but he were a little bit before them. But
Up until recently, we had Gorman, and he was like the next big thing, and City paid over the odds for
they're
him.
like one-offs. I mean, like a group of young players. You know, you've got Chambers, you've got Crew. There's a couple of others that are coming through as well, and it's just nice that like Luke's already said, that there's a group ready to just step up. But I don't know what Schmidt's got to do to get a game. I half expected to see him yesterday.
You have to think though that before he went to Switzerland, he said he was going to give up football because he just couldn't do it. And then he's played in the Swiss League, which is a big step up to the Championship. I just have to say that, because I know a lot of people are clamouring for Schmidt to start, but you've got Byron, who's already got the experience for the league, and I just think that Schmidt has to just get a couple of minutes.
What's a bigger jump in league then? The under 21s to the Championship or the Swiss League to the Championship? Which is the bigger jump?
But at least
I think it depends who you've got instead as well. So, but as Danny said there, we've got Byron who's played Premier League, or you've got somebody who's played Swiss Pro League or whatever it's called, Swiss Super League.
I wasn't expecting him to start, by the way, but I was expecting him to at least make an appearance.
No,
like you said,
no,
at the end of the day, if that's what we're going off, and you need to get experience, then you're not going to experience it on the bench, are you? So you're going to need to get some games. And this is what I'm saying, that I can't believe that he didn't come on. Not that I'm really bothered or anything, because it will fine. The substitutions I were happy with. But rather than bringing a couple of kids on at the same time, I'd have thought an introduction for Schmidt for maybe, because I think Crew was only on for 4 minutes plus extra time. I would have expected to see more of Schmidt, but you know, it is what it is. Just want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, and in fairness, Danny Scooby makes a great point. We signed some lad called Willie from the Swiss League.
Yep.
Zurich,
I forgot that point. So shut up, Danny.
Yeah, Danny.
Bollocks, mate.
Well, the thing is that he would
piss wet, piss yellow fucking shirt on a Sunday morning.
The players that both Nonto and Schmidt have trained with, so Zurich and FC Swiss cheese chocolate place. The group of players in which they train with are different. So like you've got a Championship squad which they'll learn themselves and they'll adapt to their strengths and stuff. So take that shut up right back at you, Smarty.
Well, that were like being slapped with a fucking kipper, that, mate, if I'm honest, but whatever.
A wet kipper.
Another clean sheet, by the way. Another clean sheet.
Well, this is why Melior's stats are so good.
God.
That's why his stats are so good, because he doesn't face any decent shots, does he?
Remember, who was it that said that Melior turned a corner even though he faced 0 shots on target?
Yeah, absolutely.
He can only beat what's in front of him. Let's be fair to him. Do you know what I mean? It's not our fault that they didn't get into our final third. And just on that, do we think that it makes the game harder? I've never been a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers tend to have been round our end, or the chubby kid, or the tall kid who was shit at football or whatever. And if you played for 90 minutes, to say switched on for that long and not really touch a ball, I mean, he does almost slip in as another centre back at times, and I know they use him as an 11th outfield player from time to time. But do we give him a little bit too much of an hard time when we're expecting him not to do anything for 60, 70 minutes and then save everything that comes in?
Go on, Danny.
Sorry, I was not listening at all. Then sorry, I was just. I was reading the comments there about
absolutely terrible.
Not
terrible.
Sorry,
what a terrible guest. Honestly, I don't know why we bother bringing you on here. You shit.
Just out of interest, before you answer that, if we were to go to the toilet now for a wee and we all weed what colour shirts we're wearing, who would be the most ill?
Me. Well,
I think
my
Smarty
lighting is
will
obviously
definitely need the
different.
doctor.
Luke looks like he's just living under some steps or something. He's like Harry Potter living under his stairs.
I've got natural light beaming down on me. What do you want? Vitamin
my
D or
blinds
D?
are
Whatever
shut
it is.
because mine's south-facing, so you just get a load of. I'd just be
You
a
start
silhouette.
melting.
I'd just be a silhouette there, just this little figure on. Yeah, for me, as a professional footballer,
heads, a right little body and a big head.
like it's a beautiful one. For me, Melier, I mean, end of the day, he's a professional keeper. They play a lot of football throughout the week. He's warmed up really well. Pre-match, he's warmed up again at half-time. I don't buy the whole, he doesn't see much of the ball, so he might have got cold, hence why he faces, a lot
cold,
of...
I think that's a bit harsh, but I mean, you know what I mean? I think probably what I'm more meant is it's very hard to keep concentration levels that high when you've had nothing to do, when he's literally been a spectator. He was a spectator yesterday.
I think it's an easy excuse that.
I don't think it's an easy excuse. I think it's just an angle that we need to take for take into account. And it's not just Melier. I'm not talking the amount of howlers goalkeepers in all the leagues I've seen them make this season. He's not one in his own. So anyway, before we do continue going on about Leeds, let's welcome in Aaron from Argyle Life, who's decided to join us. He's going to join us for 10-15 minutes and give us a bit of a perspective from them. So any questions for Aaron, please do get them in the chat and we'll do our best to get them over to him. Welcome, Aaron.
Morning. Is it morning? Yeah, still morning.
It is
just about.
Yeah. I know I said I'd be on at 5:30, but I was trying to delay talking about Plymouth Argyle as long as I possibly could. So I decided to have a shower as well, hence looking a bit wet.
You cry whilst you're in the shower?
No, I wish. No. For me, it's it was expected, right? If you we've got so many players out currently, like good players as well. Maybe not good enough for Leeds, but really good for us out at the moment. And when we're chucking in youngsters into a back six, like it was expected, to be honest. The fact you only scored 3 is a bit shocking, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is.
Do that a lot. We do tend to do that. We'll score a flutter or a flurry of goals, and then we just seem to just cruise. And we take the foot off the pedal, so to speak, which a few of us kind of predicted would be the case.
Yeah, a few people after the game were calling Farker a German Southgate, which I enjoyed, and it felt like that. It felt like that, to be honest, because if you wanted to, you could have battered us 7-8, 9-0 yesterday, and I have no idea why you didn't.
I think we do, as Smarty alluded to there a second ago. We do tend to do that when a game is won. We're quite happy just to almost make it into a training session and just try a couple of new things. And we saw 3 debutants come on yesterday, and yeah, I think you're quite right. I think we need to. I don't know what you two actually think. Do you think we need to be a little bit more brutal and actually go and actually put teams to the sword, or do we? You've got to take into account we've got a game midweek away at Millwall. Do we just go through the motions and finish the game at relatively peak fitness and almost use it as an additional training session, or should we be putting teams to the sword and going for 8-9-0 and really sending a message to the rest of the league?
I think
Go on,
as a fan, I was listening then. As a fan, you always want to see your team just put teams to the sword, and it's 7 or 8-0. That bloody hell, I'd have been skipping to the shop this morning. But I just feel like once that third one goes in, you can see the morale of Plymouth go down. Like Aaron said, they've got 7 players out essentially, and decent players as well. But I think that once that third one goes in, I think it's a case of it's just a bit of game management. Go through the motions that we've trained for, and then if we get another goal, that's a bonus. That's just what I think. Because why would you exert yourself and possibly force a few more injuries trying to get that 4th? Even though we are clamouring for a 4th, 5th, 6th goal, I do believe that once the 3 down, you couldn't see any way coming back from that. What about you, Smarty?
Were we more disrespectful, Smarty, by not going for it, do you think, than if we actually had gone and pumped them 7 or 8-0? Do you think it's more disrespectful to just keep hold of the ball and limit them to 21.5% possession or whatever it was?
It seems a little strange saying this as Aaron's in the room, but I don't think it's disrespectful. I think it's probably more relief on their part that we didn't, go full hog and batter.
Absolutely.
I think Plymouth were a little bit more resilient in the second half. We it's not like we just sat back and allowed had a tea party in our box. We did keep at them. There were quite a few shots registered. I just think that in that short brief period from 30 to 37 minutes, they just completely lost everything. And you could see that. Well, not necessarily that they were panicking, but they just didn't have any resolve and didn't know what to do. But it took us 30 minutes, and it took a Dan James long range effort to break the deadlock. I thought they contained us pretty well. Yes, they had quite a few players at the back. Your right winger, Aaron. What's his name?
I don't remember seeing anybody on the right wing. If you mean our right fullback, Ballymumba is most probably who you're on about.
That's it.
Yeah.
I thought he was quite good. He was the only real threat, I suppose, if you want to say a threat. He looked pretty good, and he took it round a few of our players and made a few of them look silly at the time. But no, I don't think it's disrespectful. I think it's a shame that we can't seem to put teams to the sword, but equally, as long as we've got 3 points and a decent score margin, then I'm not too bothered about battering someone.
Yeah, I think if you didn't have that game on Tuesday there, I think you would have, got those digits up a bit more. But like you said, that turnaround to Tuesday, you just need to sort of just get the 3 points, move on to London. So,
few questions coming out, and I just wanted to ask a quick one before I put the questions up, but. How do the fan base feel around Rooney's attitude towards yesterday's game? Because he'd obviously come to at the very best get a point. We saw that. I asked the guys before you came on that I think your keeper got speaking to in the 12th minute ish for slowing the game down. And I mean, you travel in your numbers. You always have done, and you're coming from out of Mongolia week in, week out. It's not just round the corner. Do you know what I mean? It's a fair old trip, and as a fan, I think I would be quite pissed off to travel all that way to Leeds and see that sort of. First of all, not the best 11 available, but also see that type of performance where, and I expect that you probably will do that to some of the other clubs that are going to be pushing for promotion. Is it just to be expected? And what do you make of that as a fan?
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, really, because even if we had our full 11 out, which is arguably stronger than what we would have played against you last season, you'd have still beaten us. I think, you might not notice it as Leeds fans, but just your strength in that squad is without doubt the best in the Championship by a country mile. So you'd have beaten us anyway. I think maybe it might have only been 1 or 2-0, and we may have had a shot, which would have been great. It would have been a win for yourselves anyway. The other side of it is it's now we've travelled over 17,000 miles since we've been promoted from the Championship. To the Championship, sorry, and we've seen 3 wins in all competitions. That is, so we're kind of getting used to it. We've always been sort of terrible on the road. We've always been pretty good at home, apart from there's a few seasons. I think it was 18, 19 under Derek Adams, where for some reason it was the other way around. But we've never been consistent away from home, and as you say, it's miles away. It's like people don't even realise that even the closest airport's an hour away. So that works to our favour in home games, as hopefully you'll see on the final day of the season when we maybe stop you from lifting that title. I wouldn't put any money on that, but it might happen. But yeah, we're just sort of getting used to it now, to the point where it's like we're sort of questioning why we even bother, or at least I am, and I know the majority of the regulars that go, week in, week out. There's loads there yesterday that was like, what is the point? And I've always called for in cup games that the lineup should be released 24 hours early, so you know whether you want to go or not. and I'm starting to think that maybe we should do that for away games as well. So,
AJ Laura asks that pretty much. Were you surprised on the defensive setup and having your best player in Whittaker on the bench? Was it a shock to you?
Yeah, yes and no, because obviously we knew we had serious players out. Obviously, Darko JB can't play against you. Whittaker is a moments man. He's not going to grab a game by the scruff of the neck and change it anyway. I don't think even yesterday he may have had a shot, but from his own half.
Probably scored past Melia.
Most probably, hopefully. But he pops up with moments of magic that makes him look maybe twice the player he actually is. Don't get me wrong, still one of the best players we've ever had in our history, and because we are, especially compared to yourselves, tiny. So he's still a brilliant player, but I think if he played for a Leeds, you would be very frustrated with him. And he wouldn't have changed yesterday at all. I'm surprised even really that maybe Ballymumba played, and even Grimshaw. I thought maybe we might even just chuck Marco Morosi in there. So yeah, if anything, I'm more surprised that Bally played rather than Whittaker didn't.
Right. And that is quite surprising. I think so. From the sounds of it, it was to be expected. Obviously, with a game coming up midweek against Portsmouth, which Michael Gotts asked here. He's just watched another Leeds stream, which is just Joe, and he said that they've said that Rooney was deliberately throwing the game because of midweek Portsmouth game. I think throwing it is probably pushing it a little bit, but he probably less significance yesterday on the result because of the expectation to go to Ellen Road and win was very, very small.
Yeah, I think the fact that it was only 3-0 is actually slightly annoying because we can't lose our shit too much. So they were going to beat us anyway. It was only 3-0. We did okay. Like in periods, that first half an hour we were okay. Not great, but we were okay. Frustrating you. And I was obviously before the first goal went in, I was slowly thinking we're going to catch them on the break here. We're going to nick this 1-0 somehow. Don't know how, but we might.
Wouldn't have surprised me.
No, exactly.
You won't be the first. You won't be the first team to set up. I mean, Sheffield United did exactly the same. He'd studied how Southampton beat us, quite well. Last season, they employ the same sort of tactics: sit deep and catch them on the break. So I did expect half of it to kind of go that way. You guys were obviously very well up to the half an hour mark, very well drilled, and I think you did okay. It was just like it took a long range effort to change things.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the second, I'm sorry, I'm not really answering the question here, but obviously the second, pinballs around the box. And I think maybe some of your fans, I don't want to say some of them overreact. They might do especially to a little jokey tweet. Which is
they have definitely overreacted.
Welcome to Leeds
our fan base.
Yeah. It's some of them maybe have overreacted to the fact that Rooney said that there was a bit of luck involved, and there was, especially in that second one. But you guys don't need the luck, we do. So if you could give us some of that, that'd be great. But anyway, what was the question? For Portsmouth in midweek, much more significant. If we get anything out of that, that's worth twice as what it would be of getting anything out of Leeds at Ellen Road. Obviously, they're around us or below us, and I don't want to jinx it, but they look genuinely awful. I mean, they played well enough against you. Was that the opening day?
First game of the season.
Yeah, they look genuinely awful. And if we fail to get anything on Tuesday, then that's when we start to worry and we start to ask questions, I think. But until then, well, we'll find out, won't we, on Tuesday? Thankfully, it's not a long turnaround.
I was surprised how low you finished last season. Actually, you just stopped going down, didn't you? I mean, when I remember last season, obviously, with the cup games as well, they were always decent games. There were always something in it, and I was surprised how actually the drop off from you guys this season. Do you think it's all Rooney, or do you just think it's the players that you've got at your disposal?
No, it's weird because I find myself sticking up for Rooney because. I don't really know why, because we're actually okay. It's all relative, really. Like games against yourselves and the top teams in the league, we might get battered, but yesterday was an anomaly in that in the fact that that's not normally how we set up. It is normally front foot attacking football, like you score 3, we'll score 4 sort of thing. It doesn't always come off, and that's fine. But that's the squad we've got available to us, and that's what we normally do. Sorry, I've completely forgotten your question. I'm just going to keep talking.
Thoughts on Rooney, mainly.
Thoughts on Rooney, that'll do. He's okay. He's okay. We've done fine. Apart from our away form, which has always been terrible, even under Steven Schumacher, was terrible. Even the season we won League One with 101 points, we only picked up 21% of our points on the road. So like we've never been great. Got battered by Sheffield Wednesday, who are not great. We got battered by Cardiff, who are slightly resurgent, but still, they're going to finish in the bottom 6 places. 3-0 loss yesterday, should have been 4-5-6, but at home we're fine. We're okay, and we've given other teams good games, like obviously West Brom up at their place. A lot of their fans saying like the best team that have come to the Hawthorns so far this season, etc., etc. So I've just remembered your question. Compared to last year, we've got a fairly similar squad. If anything, we've got a slightly better squad, apart from the loss of Michael Cooper, who would hit anyone. And I was actually really surprised that Leeds didn't come and pick him up, to be honest, because I rate him much higher than I do Melier. But obviously, you don't need a great keeper if you're not going to face any shots. I reckon I could have kept a clean sheet. Well, I would have kept a clean sheet yesterday. Yeah. There's no maybe about that. I would say arguably we're stronger, but when we haven't got 6 of our best players, then we're gonna look terrible. And last season we got relatively lucky with injuries and stuff. Like there were no like crossovers really of big players that were out. So obviously the games last season when we played against you, we would look stronger anyway.
Yeah. Moving on from yesterday's game, then Aaron, I know you mentioned the best players that you had out. Mark Edison and I and the rest of the people want to know, we don't get to see your games week in, week out. How is Garby getting on?
Unfortunate. Yeah, it's a shame. You should really tune in more often. Yeah. No, he's fine. I'm not a stats nerd, or I'm not going to give you like a full in-depth breakdown of Darko's game, but
it's fine. We're not stats nerds either, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, good. Not the way to be. Especially when your stats are 0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah, you don't have many stats 0. To talk about, do you?
Exactly. We did have more goal kicks than you, though. So who are the real winners? We're getting slightly better at kickoff.
Just on that, actually, it's nice to see a bloody keeper smashing it every now and again. I'm glad that you didn't try and play out from the back, which you see a lot, even if those teams that even can't play out from the back. I'd have been a bit like, come on, guys, just get it fucking wellied up there, Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to see it every now and again.
Well, again, that's how we changed yesterday, because we normally do. Normally, Lewis Gibson takes it, a centre-back takes it to the keeper. And Daniel Grimshaw is his idol is Edison, which I find weird, because that makes me feel really old. And it's like, he loves it. He's so much better with the ball at his feet than any keeper we've ever had. Definitely better than Michael Cooper. And he just loves the ball at his feet. I mean, I'd prefer it if he could stop the ball going in the net with his hands instead. But he's done all right. So normally, like, just everything yesterday was different. Everything. And it's to the point where it's like, let's just write it off and just go again on Tuesday. But back to the question of Darko. Yeah, young lad, growing into it. When he plays well, we play well. The same with his midfield partner, Adam Randall. When they're both on song, we look good. When they're both crap, we're utterly crap. And obviously yesterday we didn't have either of them. We had Leeds United legend Adam Forshaw in the cam, which was interesting. So yeah, I was
he looked broken. I
was expecting a bit more of a reception for him, to be honest. But yeah.
I think he only played about 5 times for us.
Yeah, he's only played 6. He's only got 7 appearances, mate. He's not.
Oh, is he actually?
A legend.
Oh, right. Is he actually? Right.
No. He's got more. He's got more than that. But I think he was here for 5 seasons, 5-6 years, and I don't think he even broke the 100 mark for appearances.
He's broken 2 full years, wasn't he, at one stage?
Yeah.
What playing for you, Aaron? Is he playing as a sort of defensive midfielder, or a bit more progressive as an 8?
He's barely playing, to be honest. He's more in that CDM role when he does.
Sorry.
Darko. JB is. It depends really. Depends who we've got available. So he's doing a bit of both. He's definitely better in that 8 and sometimes 10. We played Middlesbrough away under Ian Foster last season. He played that 10. It was absolutely unreal. He looked like one of the best players we've ever had, and then was returned to the norm not long afterwards. So he has his moments, has his flashes, and he's definitely one for the future. Obviously, the reason you spent £5 million on him, but I cannot see any world in which, especially if you go up, that he gets regular game time for you. It screams somebody that you ship out to Middlesbrough for 1.25 mil, and he just has a very nice career in the Championship, being paid lots of money, but never really breaking that top level, to be honest. But there's still time. But we've had him quite a while now, so and there's no real huge. I'm not gonna give him too many stars of potential on the Football Manager ranking. If I had to.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I know we said we're not stats nerds, and sorry to put this one on you, Aaron, but Sean Kelly has said, Johnny Cooper from LUFC Data said, Plymouth Argyle yesterday were just the second team Opta has on record since 2013-14 to fail to attempt a single shot in a championship game. And I think I read yesterday as well, you were the first for Leeds Data, since they've been collecting data, to ever to record 0.00 XG as well, which is and this goes back to what I say about the travelling fans, and going back to just to elaborate on what you said about knowing the team and knowing the lineup, and those people have spent hard-earned money travelling up the country, not just on tickets. Some of them will have stayed over, some will have travelled there, and back in the day they've spent a full day, and they've effectively watched your reserves play in a competitive championship game. Which I find unfair, and I do feel for those. And I did put something very similar on Twitter yesterday that it's the fans who suffer. But as you've already alluded to and said, that Tuesday will be the telltale as to whether that was the right decision or not.
Yeah, absolutely, and LUFC Data needs to leave us alone. Been bullying us for weeks. But yeah, it's shocking that that stat, about being only the second team ever in Championship history. I don't know who the other one is. It's got to be a Burton Albion or a Rotherham or somebody, isn't it? Which is great. It's not good reading.
It's all right, mate. LUFC Data used to batter us when we were in Premier League, and for not the good reasons either as well. So don't worry about it. We've had a fair share from our own data guys.
But even like you don't need data for yesterday, do you? Like the eye test alone is like, we are shite, you are good. Like that, that's the bottom line of it. And no amount of zeros unless they're on the end of the number in my bank account I care about, really. So
unless they're all zeros.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's 0.00 in my bank, then I'll start to worry. But
anything else you want to add, Aaron? We'll let you get off while we wrap up. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything? Any feelings from yesterday's game? Any positives?
No. Lovely chippy outside the away end. We were talking.
Gravely's.
Gravely's is a cracking.
We were talking maybe the best non-coastal chippy in the country.
Obviously, by far.
We have high standards, obviously, down in the southwest. It's not as good as what you can get down here, but it's good. It's good for away day food. Any other positives? Any other positives?
I think one thing I would like to say is it's nice to get an opposition fans, feelings about our team as well. That you've obviously said, because I think sometimes we get lost in the whole Leeds United bubble, to speak. That we don't appreciate. I mean, there were a guy that walked past one of my friends who was a row in front of me. I sit in the south stand, and he walked out at full time saying that were absolutely shite, boring football. And I think sometimes we've just got to sit back and just appreciate what it is that we've got, because we've been where you are. We've been absolutely turgid. We've been horrible, and it's only the last 6 or 7 years when we've actually started playing decent football again. We've been through the mill. We know what it's like to be, absolutely, really, really poor. You know, so sometimes I think, you know, it's nice to get an opposition's fans' perspective on us sometimes.
Yeah, I suppose the Championship to us is what the Premier League is to you. Like, you go up and you think, oh, this is all corrupt bullshit. Like, fuck you. Like these teams are like outspending us. How are like they managing to get in? Even like I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. French lad that you got in.
Guilherme.
Yeah, that's played like European football, and you're like, you bastards! Like, your Championship team picking him up as a free agent, and you're like, it's just not fair. Like, life's not fair. And then you're like, you just have to get over yourself, and you're like, well, actually, we're just quite lucky to be here. And I can imagine that's the same how you feel in the Premier League. But yeah, like the games that we played you like 5 times now in like a year and a half, and I just never really want to play Leeds United ever again. To the point where, like, I'm sort of bitter in the fact that I don't want you to go up because I don't want to see you happy and have success because you never give me any, but also at the same time I just want you to piss off and just go and stay in the Premier League for a few years.
We'd be quite happy to do that, mate. But
exactly,
we'll probably back down in a couple of seasons later.
That is the problem, right? But yeah, so outsider's view, I don't think you've got anything to worry about, and if it is a semi-boring season in which you grind out 3-0 wins to a second place finish, like, I don't know why
take it, wouldn't you?
Like that, but it's all relative, right? Like, you know, there'll be people that are in the stands at Ellen Road that have seen you have like great European nights and, you know, lift trophies and whatever else. They'd be pretty odd now, I imagine, but you know,
Luke's seen us win a trophy.
Exactly, it's all relative, right? Because like, oh, fair enough.
I've seen us in Europe, but he's seen us win a trophy.
It's like my nephews, like their first season watching Argyle was the year that we, you know, properly anyway, it's the year that we go and win the league of 101 points, and they think it's all brilliant, and they're like, oh, we're you know, best team in League One's ever seen, we're brilliant and whatever, and you're like, no, like, you don't understand. We've been through the mill, like we've been in the depths of League Two. Like,
interesting you say that, because I've had a lot of messages and tweets from Ipswich fans who said,
I'm gonna say
I told you so, sort of thing, and they've sort of come back and eaten a bit of a humble pie and said, look, Leeds told us, Burnley told us, Sheffield United told us, this Premier League ain't what it's made out to be. The journey is far more better than the destination. Far much, yeah. The destination is shit, and they've been hard done to, I think, on a couple of occasions this season. So yeah, I think you're right in what you say. However, think yourself lucky that you know that if you do ever make it to the Premier League, that is really not what it's made out to be. But
yeah,
I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions before I let you go, Aaron. And honest positioning, where do you think you're going to finish this season?
1 point or 2 points just outside the relegation zone. I think that would be a 1 point improvement on last year. We'll take it.
Great. And how do you think, and Leeds, how do you think where we're going to finish?
It's really hard. I'm torn to say whether you're the best team we've played this season or the second. And we beat Sunderland, and they were absolutely brilliant. And we also did not have we didn't put out our reserves, so it's kind of like skewed just purely on the games that we've played. But I think you're definitely top 2, whether that's first or second. Like, part of me sort of wants to see Sunderland pip you, just to give you that little. Like I said, I don't want to wish you too much luck. You don't need it.
I don't think any of us are that bothered, mate. As long as we go up.
No, exactly.
Especially after hate every second.
Exactly.
You even get a bloody trophy for finishing second now as well. So you know, don't matter.
Exactly. And even if you win the league, you know that trophy is going to look. I assume you have some sort of museum. It's not really going to be pride of place anyway, is it? So don't need it. So just go up. Like I said, just go up and leave us alone, please.
It can go up next to our FIFA Fair Play Award.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of teams have one of them.
Nope.
No.
Wayne says he'd wish Plymouth well for the future. He'd rather see Cardiff and teams like Millwall go down.
Absolutely.
So there is a lot of love in there for the comments for you, Aaron, and we do appreciate you popping on. For those of you who don't know, Aaron is part of Argyle Life, Green and White podcast, who are live tonight at 8:00 on YouTube. I will retweet their tweet from our pod account. So if anybody does want to join them tonight, do be nice and call over and say hello to Aaron. And there are a few of you on there tonight, 2 or 3 of you.
Yeah, four of us. You can not be nice if you want. We don't care. We prefer.
I might join in and give you some shit. I think
I'll be in the comments.
As you guys know, with monetization, I don't care as long as you reply. As long as you comment, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Like as soon as I put that grow up tweet out yesterday, I just muted it instantly. So everybody that's shouting is just in a void.
And they were just like, my work here is done.
Yeah. I'm not mature enough to do that. I like an argument. I love it.
I've done it a few times.
I go for it.
But yeah,
Luke's in the trenches every week, mate. Luke's in the trenches, just throwing grenades.
Luke's in the
trenches,
arguing with himself more often.
I argue with myself.
Yeah,
class.
Yeah. Even Gilly, Luke and Gilly, just throwing grenades over at trench walls, man. Constantly in the depths of Twitter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I just want to bring up what Saul says. Plymouth very cool home shirt. I do like this Plymouth home shirt. I think they're great. I'm not bothered about the yellow one because I think ours is better. But the home shirt, I think it's a cracking shirt. That.
Yeah, I did find it.
That is a positive, I suppose.
Yeah, I did find it really weird how like every stand yesterday were just all wearing our third shirt. So I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. Really weird to like see Ellen Road yellow. So used to seeing mainly white, obviously, but it was a weird feeling where we sort of felt slightly at home, and then we did that. So didn't last.
Aaron,
but...
you've been an absolute pleasure and a true gent. Thank you ever so much for your honest feedback and your honest perception of football, I suppose, in general, but also about Leeds and Plymouth as well. Wish you luck on for the rest of the season. And as I said before, those of you who want to join Aaron tonight at Argyle Live, please do, and pop OKB in there. So you've seen him on here today, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the season, Aaron. Thanks ever so much, bud.
Cheers, guys. Yeah,
all the best.
Don't wish you guys any luck at all, because if you with that squad, you do not need it. So, and we need every ounce we can get. So I'm keeping it for myself. Thanks. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, buddy. Bye bye.
Take it easy.
Well, I thought it was
lovely
right.
Man.
Until he said that. We should all look for. We should look for the rest of the season. I wish you no luck. Well, fuck off then.
All the best. Yeah, he's right what he says though. We shouldn't need it, but we are Leeds, and that's something that we didn't touch on. We are our own worst enemy.
We are. We beat ourselves sometimes. I think one thing that we didn't touch upon is the atmosphere. Certainly at home, the players feed off that, and once it does start to die down, it feels like you could literally hear a pin drop in their kite sometimes when things aren't going our way. Things going our way, it's the best stadium in the country by a country mile. But when things aren't quite working and it's becoming a little bit more frustrating, and the players feed off that, and you can tell mistakes happen, and they don't play those little bit more comfortable ball, a little bit more risky balls, and they just try and make things a little bit more comfortable. Nobody wants to take a risk. Yesterday, when we were all laying, when Gilavugi came on, it just felt like everyone was doing the easy thing because nobody wanted to fuck up and be the end of that chain letter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of the guys that's not been with us since Burnley has been here, there, and absolutely everywhere. He's been over in America for a while. He commented on the atmosphere yesterday. He says, atmosphere is crap, innit? And it does the usual 15 to 20 minutes. It kind of died off a little bit because of obviously. We still don't really know. We haven't nailed the reason why it's like that, because a lot of the time we say, it's because it's a dodgy kickoff. It's Sunday morning, or it's Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, or a Friday night, or a Tuesday night, or whatever. That was a 3 o'clock Saturday kickoff. It should have been frigging bouncing, and it wasn't, or it was for 15 to 20 minutes. But after that first goal went in, that were it then. The volume goes up. So I just think we're all quite anxious. We're anxious fans. We just want to get out of this frigging league. But on the flip side of that coin is that the league above is an absolute shit place to be as well. So yeah, it's one of them, isn't it?
I do think we'll have a better go this year, though. I think we do. I think we've got the right cogs in the right places to have a real go if we do go up this year. And I think we might see something slightly different. But we look at the teams that have gone up; they're all struggling, and the 3 that came down last season.
Do you mean we'll have a better go if we get promoted in the Premier League? Do you mean?
Yeah,
like with the 49ers. Yeah. I agree.
I think so. Yeah.
I think the shackles will be off with the 49ers. I generally do think, because we've got better people in place rather than some drunk Italian. No offense to Italians, just that specific one who likes to DM.
I think it's more to do with recruitment as well. I think the recruitment that we made, at certain periods in the Premier League, we did get some gems, Rafinha, etc. But there was some absolute torrid torrid players.
The recruitment at this level even's been better, hasn't it? You look at the players we've brought in, and every single one of them just fit. Tanaka.
I said last season. That season, the players that we had last season was better than the one that we had in the frigging Premier League the season we were relegated. I would have much preferred to have the last season's squad in the Premier League. But
now, look, if you look in hindsight, look at hindsight. This summer's recruitment: Tanaka, Rothwell. Rothwell were the first one through the door, and without anyone seeing him play a minute for Leeds United, everybody wrote him off.
Not everyone.
Well, I remember saying to you that. I remember to you specifically, Smart. I remember saying, I'm Bryn as well, actually, in the comments. I said, Rothwell's coming in, and I think Bryn were quite, at the time, quite positive about him. But
Bryn's never positive about anything.
It's positive.
Bryn and Gilly. In fact, I was giving them both, Gilly and Bryn, some shit in the fucking Peacock last night because I was saying you're two miserable sods. In fact, I tell you what, I've got an absolute shit take. I'm not on this week's pod.
Well, save it then. Save it.
No, I'm not.
Save it. This is time. This is the time.
Gary Kelly were in the Peacock last night.
Has got a shit tick this week, my little sparrow-fact.
Fuck it, let's go rogue. Let's go rogue.
Let's just fucking do it. One, it's Sunday. Who cares? Woo! Anyway, Gary Kelly was in the Peacock last night. Apparently, I was stood three people away from him, and I didn't have a clue because he had his little flap cap on or whatever he wears. And the revelation from Mr. Johnson said that Gary Kelly was absolutely shite and Danny Mills was much better. What do you think to that?
Right. There's two answers to this, and they're both right. So, Danny Mills at one stage was better than Gary Kelly.
At one point, but not all together.
Not throughout.
When Gary Kelly started to the age,
and not in terms of longevity. However,
yes,
Gary Kelly was never shit.
Brent man in comments.
There he is. I
love him.
He sat there on his couch with his Ollie underpants on, pants like Swiss cheese. He is sat there with bollock hanging out Sunday morning.
He's trying to condone what he said now. He's Bryn. In fairness, he said Rothwell was an improvement on Shackleton. Well, that's not very difficult, is it? But Shackleton was a right back, and we brought Bogle in to replace him. So, actually, he did, Bryn. Actually, when we were going through, I will give Bryn his due. When he was arguing with Gilly right at the start, at the end of the transfer period, he was trying to help Gilly understand, because Gilly finds it very difficult to take anyone else's point of view.
Yes.
He was trying to help him. He was trying to help him understand that player for player, we have a better squad, albeit slightly smaller. We have player for player and position for position. We have got a better squad. And I'll give Bryn's due. He did say that, and I think he did at the time. We replaced. I think he replaced Shackleton for Ayling, for Bogle, and Shackleton as a central midfielder and put Rothwell over the top of him. So in fairness, he did say that. So, but yeah, there has been a lot of shit takes, and I think that one will definitely win it this week. Gary Kelly.
Poor GK sat there with his pint of Guinness, which I can't believe you're drinking that absolute shite. As a pint of Guinness from the Peacock is generally one of the worst drinks I've ever had in my life. It was horrendous. Out of a plastic cup as well. It's not good, mate. Not good at all.
How did he split the G?
I don't know. He looked. I've seen some pictures of him with people that I know since, and he looked absolutely arsehole. Fair play to him. But yeah, I mean, just touching on Rothwell, I thought you were great again yesterday. You know, he's an absolute cut above a lot of the players from last season. And you look at Shackleton, you know, when they played at Sheffield United, absolutely shite. You look at Forshaw, he were absolutely shite as well. Really, towards the latter end, you know, once he came back from his injuries and stuff. So
Forshaw went here last year, was he? He went to Norwich.
No, year before. He went year before.
That's what I mean.
Year before, but he was in our squad when we were in the Premier League. Look at him now. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, the players that we've got.
Look at Tyler Roberts. Tyler Roberts got sent off for Northampton.
Yeah.
And Bielsa was starting him in fucking Premier League.
Behind Dan James as a striker.
Exactly, yeah. But my point is that I think this season the team is progressively better.
Yes.
You know.
And based on that, then let's round up. Let's go round. I'll have your man of the matches from yesterday, please. Then Danny, if I start with you.
It is Tanaka.
Ayo.
It's always going to be Tanaka, my samurai brother.
If he didn't play.
Even if he didn't play, he's going to get man of match.
Yeah.
Tanaka.
I think. Can I just say it's Tanaka with Rothwell a close second, a very close second.
Interesting. I'm going to go with, before whilst Smarty's still thinking, because I know it takes a long time to get right up to the top of your head.
I've already got someone in mind. I was going to go Tanaka, but I'm not saying the same as Dan.
I'm going to go Dan James. I think he's been an absolute revelation, been back in the side.
Yeah. I like Dan James. I thought he did well yesterday, and Nonto. The whole team did. You know, they played pretty well. I thought Strike were pretty good as well. He was solid yesterday, but sorry, I'm going to go Tanaka as well. The guy's just an absolute breath of fresh air.
Skill. Less than £3 million we paid
Honestly,
for him. 2.65 million, I think it was.
Yeah. So good, isn't he?
Can I just put a little fun fact about Tanaka? He got an 8.9 rating against Spain in 2022. And if you look at Spain's midfield, it was unbelievable. He had Rodri in there and stuff like that.
Busquets.
I think Zav. Yeah, Busquets. And, oh, mate. I think Leeds that put it up. But it's like, wow. And Lockie's been spewing about him. Sorry.
Do you want another fun fact about Tanaka? His name has got as many A's in it as it has consonants.
Wow.
And on that note, we will be back sometime during the week. If we play Tuesday night, I imagine we'll probably do it joint BNC on a Wednesday or Thursday this week. So do keep your eyes peeled. What we got coming from NALP, Danny? Anything coming up? The usual Friday stuff?
Usual Friday stuff. Watch out on the socials for the edits on that drop in. We've just done a Halloween, a not so special Halloween special with Smarty and Carl from your pod. And it was very good. I think the first impressions thing was a success. Smarty is a very dubious Sparker impression.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it, Luke, but I'll send you it. Carl's impression.
I've seen it. I've seen Carl's impression of Melier as well.
Poirot.
And you should Poirot. And you should check out Matty's impression of Josh Giant Bogey. He's quite good actually. So yeah,
great.
Yeah,
so if you haven't seen those, get over
podcast.
to Not Another Leeds podcast, because I know somebody who asked him in the comments what NALP is. That is
Danny's what is a NALP?
And it's at Not Another Leeds on Twitter. Do go over, give him a follow, give him a watch, subscribe and all that jazz. Keep your eyes out. We'll have something out midweek after Millwall. Thank you both to you both, Danny, for giving up your Sunday morning to join Smarty and I. Smarty, as
always
ever, it's always a pleasure, never a chore. And thanks to Aaron. I'm just about to retweet from the pod account the Plymouth stuff for tonight. So if you do want to go over and watch,
now he's not here, guys. Everyone that's here, go over and give him some right shit.
Yeah, give him some shit and just
give
say
shit.
"Oh no, better's better than you" and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And now,
we hit past it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to say, but enjoy the rest of your weekends, whatever you're up to. Stay safe, and we'll see you through the week. Cheers.
See you later.
Danny got you playing your sax. And apparently we play Wednesday, not Tuesday, so we won't see you. We might see you Tuesday.
Do we?